26 नवंबर का दिन देश भर में संविधान दिवस के रूप में मनाया जाता है। इस दिन को राष्ट्रीय संवैधानिक दिवस और राष्ट्रीय कानून दिवस के तौर पर भी मनाया जाता है। दरअसल 26 नवंबर 1949 को संविधान को अपनाया गया था और राष्ट्र को समर्पित किया गया था। वहीं 26 जनवरी 1950 को इसे लागू किया गया था। इसलिए 26 नवंबर को संविधान दिवस और 26 जनवरी को गणतंत्र दिवस के रूप में मनाया जाता है। साल 2015 में भारत सरकार ने 26 नवंबर को संविधान दिवस के रूप में मनाने का फैसला किया था। 2015 का वर्ष इसलिए भी खास था क्योंकि उस साल संविधान निर्माता डॉक्टर भीमराव अंबेडकर की 125वीं जयंती मनाई जा रही थी। भारतीय संविधान विश्व का सबसे लंबा लिखित संविधान है। भारत के संविधान में कई देशों के संविधान की विशेषताओं को अपनाया गया है। संविधान निर्माताओं को पूरा संविधान तैयार करने में 2 वर्ष 11 माह और 18 दिन लगे थे। संविधान की असली प्रतियां हिंदी और इंग्लिश दोनों भाषाओं में लिखी गई थीं। मूल संविधान की बात करें तो इसमें 22 भाग, 395 अनुच्छेद और 8 अनुसूचियां थीं, किंतु विभिन्न संशोधनों के बाद आज के संविधान में 25 भाग, 448 अनुच्छेद और 12 अनुसूचियां हैं। पूरे भारत में इस बार यानी 26 नवंबर 2022 के दिन पूरे हर्षोल्लास के साथ संविधान दिवस मनाया गया। वहीं बात करें प्रदेश की तो पूरे छत्तीसगढ़ में भी संविधान दिवस पर विभिन्न कार्यक्रमों का आयोजन किया गया। इसी क्रम में प्रदेश की हिदायतुल्ला नेशनल लॉ यूनिवर्सिटी में भी संविधान दिवस के दिन परिचर्चा का आयोजन किया गया। परिचर्चा की शुरुआत हिदायतुल्ला नेशनल लॉ यूनिवर्सिटी के डीन डॉक्टर विपिन कुमार ने की। परिचर्चा में देश की नामचीन यूनिवर्सिटी के कई शिक्षाविदों ने भाग लिया और एक-एक कर संविधान पर अपने विचार प्रकट किए।
It is a great pleasure, pride and responsibility to stand before all of you to give some opening remarks. Before I do dwell on the importance of this day, to us it also marks a kind of fraternity which we are trying to establish with the other law institutes in the state. In fact, we have got a major program which will be unveiled shortly. It is called CG Learn, Chhattisgarh Learn, which is Legal Education Research Network, which will be formally done in a couple of months. A population not just by census, but marked by a kaleidoscopic diversity of faiths, languages, cultural moorings, and again a subtext of all these diversities within the diversity marks India.
Fundamental rights in this country were frequently amended in order to accommodate the socialist agenda of the government. The prominent example is the shifting of the right to property from part 3 to the other parts of the constitution. Then on the other hand, when we look at the relationship between fundamental rights and welfare goals, we find that the constitution has been amended to accommodate the socialist goals, and instead of making any kind of restructuring on fundamental rights itself. So in that regard, we refer to Article 31 capital B and 31 capital C, where immunities are being given to the laws which are being placed in 9th schedule of the Constitution, that even though they are violative of fundamental rights, they are not open to judicial scrutiny. So on the one hand, rights are being taken away from part 3. On the other hand, what we find is that welfare laws are given immunity even though they are violative of fundamental rights. So this is what I see as the first conundrum.
A good constitution protects the people and holds the government accountable. According to Lord Bryce, the constitution of a state or a nation consists of laws or rules that determines the form of its government and respective rights and duties it towards the citizen and citizens towards the government. People of the country, the organs of the government, legislature, executive and judiciary, all bound by the constitution, which is the paramount law of the land, and nobody is above and beyond the constitution. In this light, what has happened, because we know our constitution is the longest constitution and of any independent country in the world. The Indian constitution has reflections of constitution of many countries, and in this regard, Dr. Ambedkar, when he was justifying, he said, rightly said, that Indian constitution was created after ransacking the known constitution across the world. And to justify the action of the Constituent Assembly, Dr. Ambedkar also said to the accusation that the draft constitution has reproduced a good part of the provisions of different constitution, basically Government of India Act 1935, and he said, I make no apologies, there is nothing to be ashamed of in borrowing. It involves no plagiarism, nobody holds any patent right in the fundamental ideas of the constitution.
We have been discussing about the fundamental rights and etc. But what about DPSP? Having understood that it is not justiciable in any court, but it should be the basic line on which the philosophy of governance should be based on. But why we are not taking those DPSPs? There are a number of DPSPs which I could quote, but due to paucity of time that I have been told, so I should cut short my questions. The second aspect is of dignity, what has been time and again repeated in provisions of our constitution. Dignity, are we able or have we been able to ensure dignity to our people, and what does this mean of dignity? Have we stopped taking dowries, or dowries have been stopped being given in marriage? So the constitution is not only a document which relates with the governance of our country or governance of a state, but it also should be imbibed by our daily individual lives. So how far we have done this, we are able to do this.
And therefore, Pranab Mukherjee, the former President of India, in one context said, whatever you do in life, the Constitution of India must be at the back of your mind, and the Constitution of India must be at the center of your heart. Youngsters, please remember that. That is the pledge that you are required to take today to commemorate the happening of a great event 73 years ago. Only one thing I would like to tell you, a number of countries became independent with us between 1947 and 1950. Number of constitutions were drafted, but most of them were thrown overboard. But this is the Constitution of India that has grown from strength to strength because of its resilience. To such an extent, when an attempt was made to review the working of the Constitution by constituting national constitution, review the working of the Constitution of Justice Venkatachalaya, people raised hue and cry saying that this Constitution is our new Dharma Shastra.
Article 21 has been interpreted, right to life has been interpreted so widely, and it has come to the help of the downtrodden. And if I may borrow the language of Justice Krishna Iyer in Jolly George Varghese versus Bank of Cochin, Daridra Narayanas. It has come to the help of Daridra Narayanas very often. And we know many of such instances and judgments. And I guess it is our duty to remember all those people who have contributed in building India, in making the constitution that we read today. Now, if we try to analyze the constitution from the perspective of, I don't know whether I can borrow his idea, but as a person of easy virtue, some of the earlier speakers were quoting probably the summary of the Oxfam report, which has been published in 2022, which essentially says that 10% of the Indian population gathered almost 70% of the wealth that has been earned in 2021.
In today's deliberation, we looked upon 73 years and strong the Constitution is going, but however, there were tremendous issues which were not visualized or materialized as per the constitutional values. So we deliberated on the structure of the Constitution as well as how far its performance and the challenges which the country needs to do. This particular conclave day is not a one-off event. It will be followed by a series of events from HNLU deliberating upon Indian Constitution and the challenges which we will be doing as a kind of a series of events in the research center which we are proposing to do on constitutional law.
हिदायतुल्लाह राष्ट्रीय विधि विश्वविद्यालय ने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन डे को सेलिब्रेट करते हुए एक कॉन्क्लेव आयोजित किया, जिसमें हिदायतुल्लाह राष्ट्रीय विधि विश्वविद्यालय ने प्रोफेसर रणवीर सिंह, प्रोफ चांसलर ILM यूनिवर्सिटी को इनवाइट किया था, और प्रोफेसर R वेंकट राव, फॉर्मर वाइस चांसलर NLSI बेंगलोर। इस कॉन्क्लेव के दौरान वक्ताओं ने जो संविधान के प्रारूप और संविधान की विवेचना की और ये बताया कि किस तरह संविधान जो है इस राष्ट्र को सशक्त बनाने में सशक्त बनाने का काम कर रहा है, और किस तरह से हम नागरिकों को भी अपने दायित्वों को पूरा करना चाहिए, जिससे कि संविधान और भी सशक्त बने और देश में अच्छी एक मैसेज जाए और देश का एक विकास हो। संविधान हमें ये बताता है कि हमारे क्या अधिकार हैं, संविधान हमें ये बताता है कि हमारे क्या कर्तव्य हैं। संविधान जो है गवर्नेंस के स्ट्रक्चर को देता है, जिससे पावर्स और रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज़ डिफाइन होती हैं, और इन सब स्ट्रक्चर के वजह से जो है एक नवनिर्माण देश का हो रहा है।
हिदायतुल्लाह राष्ट्रीय विश्वविद्यालय में एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन डे पे कॉन्क्लेव का आयोजन किया गया, जिसमें मुख्य वक्ता के रूप में डॉक्टर रणवीर सिंह सर और गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर के रूप में वेंकटराव सर उपस्थित हुए। यह सफल कार्यक्रम माननीय कुलपति महोदय श्री विवेकानंद जी के नेतृत्व में संपूर्ण किया गया, रजिस्ट्रार उदय शंकर सर, और इस प्रोग्राम के में एक पुस्तक का भी विमोचन किया गया।
All participated and deliberated on various pertinent and burning topics of the Constitution and its practice during last 73 years. So it was a nice feeling and everybody enjoyed a lot. The students were benefited a lot, and the faculty members, the audience, and ultimately it was a successful program.
As a law university, I think it is essential that every year on the Constitution Day, that is 26 November 1949, we assemble and celebrate by taking stock of the situation and making an assessment as to how far we have progressed in achieving the objectives and the ideals as enshrined in the Constitution, particularly in the preamble to the Constitution of India. Overall, this program was a very successful program. It was attended by many dignitaries who spoke on different aspects of the working of the Constitution.